Okay, guys, so this is going to help you understand the essay or the excerpt from the essay Self-Reliance by Ralph Waldo Emerson. So let's take a little look at this. So first of all, self-reliance. This is a core American value. That means it is one of the main American values. And even though they were separated by 100 years, Ben Franklin and Ralph Waldo Emerson would have agreed on a thing or two. Both really valued self-reliance. Both thought it was the highest calling of human beings to improve and perfect themselves in the world. However, the methods that they advocated were different. So like other Enlightenment thinkers, Ben Franklin believed that self-improvement should be based on reason and science, but Emerson was a transcendentalist, and he believed that self-fulfillment was rooted in intuition and the imagination. So there's some similarities, but also some big differences. Emerson really believed that the truth about oneself lay within themselves rather than in the outside world. So Emerson's essay, Self-Reliance, is about that very thing, the notion that a person should determine his or her own fate rather than allow society to do so. So let's take a closer look at this in this passage right here. All right, so it says, we're going to talk about imitation, we're going to talk about diligence, and we're going to talk about identity. So let's take a look at this excerpt. There is a time in every man's education when he arrives at the conviction that envy is ignorance, that imitation is suicide, and that he must take himself for better, for worse, as his portion. That though the wide universe is full of good, no kernel of nourishing corn can come to him, but through this his toil bestowed on the plot of ground which is given him to till. The power which resides in him is new in nature, and none but he knows what that is which he can do, nor does he know until he has tried. All right, so imitation right here. All right, he is saying that if you were looking out and you were thinking, man, I wish I had everything that guy had, that's just ignorant. And if you're trying to imitate, if you're trying to be just like somebody else, that is no way to live your life. He calls that suicide. It's almost like killing yourself. Okay, he says no matter what, you have to take yourself, for better or for worse, as who you are. He also talks about diligence. He says, though the wide universe is full of good, there's all this stuff out there, but you're not going to get anything, not one kernel of corn to eat, unless you yourself do the work. You toil the ground, you plant the corn, and you harvest it. And then finally, he talks about identity. He says the power which resides in him is new in nature. Each man or woman are their own person. And none but he knows what that is, which he can do. Society can't tell you who you are. Religion can't tell you who you are. Your people around you can't tell you who you are. Only you know that. And you can't know it until you try to know it. So tilling that soul, oneself, will cause a new and powerful and utterly unique being to germinate and grow. So he also talks about nonconformity. This is the flip side of his belief in self-reliance, is his disregard for conformity, for trying to be like everybody else. And throughout this essay, he really just charges his readers with practicing nonconformity in order to live a rich, full, and authentic life. So let's see who he talks about should be a nonconformist. Well, Emerson believes that to be truly human, a person should seek truth and wisdom, not in society, but in nature and within himself. All right? He said, I am ashamed to think how easily we capitulate to badges and names, to large societies and dead institutions. So right here he recognizes that it's easy to conform to society, to labels and categories, and people use those things to build themselves up. It provides them with this superficial identity, but he is ashamed of it because he believes it is subhuman to live that way. He says, what I must do is all that concerns me, not what people think. So he's really suggesting here that the best compass for your life's own journey is your own heart, not what other people think of you. So guys, hopefully this will help you understand the essay a little bit more. You might want to go back and read over it one more time.